What is up? Oh, it always defaults to the circle thing. What is up, y'all? Bob Mata here, host of the True Crime Podcast, Defense Diaries. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm a little bit harried. I just got off of doing a thing with Josh Ritter, which is going to be premiering next, I think, Monday. So it was actually had nothing to do with the case. Had everything to do with kind of like how I got into this whole mess of YouTube and podcasting and all that good stuff. So today we're going to continue our coverage of the awful case of Suzanne Simpson. And I really kind of wanted to today dig into some of the things that we weren't able to get into when we were going through the probable cause affidavit, which was, very, very thorough. Like again, when you think about probable cause affidavits and we think about the case, which I'm covering very heavily, Delphi, and you all know my opinion on that probable cause affidavit, that was weak as water. And then you look at a probable cause affidavit like this, and it seems to be on the face of it very, very powerful. So that is kind of one of those things that I feel like I want to cover this case pretty heavily. I really do. I think it's important. We're seeing this far too often. We've got obviously the case with Brian Walsh just being the monster that he is. Like we're just seeing in the Morphew case as well. We've got these cases where this seems to be a trend that needs to stop. And I don't know what these dudes think they're doing. I don't know how they think they're going to get away with these things. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they just don't get divorced. It's just bizarre to me. It's like, and they all have kids, all of them. Like, how lost do you have to be? How warped do you have to be? How twisted do you have to be to not realize the impact that it's going to have on the people that should be most important to you if you're a parent, and that is your children? Like, how sick do you need to be? I just don't understand it. It'll never make sense to me. No one is ever going to make that make sense to me. I just cannot fathom it at all. I just don't understand it. So, all right. So if you guys didn't see the first episode that we had done on Suzanne's case, and as we speak right now, Suzanne Simpson is still missing. They have not found her. Her husband, Brad Simpson, has been arrested and charged with her murder. We saw something come up this week, which piqued my interest. Apparently, he has filed, or his public defender has filed a motion that we've been trying to get our hands on. And for some reason, I think G may have gotten it. I don't know if we ever got it, it's unusual for me not to be able to get my hands on emotion, especially with Dizzy and Tracy. So, if they're struggle bussing with it, it's not it's not real easy to get your hands on it. So, um, I think basically we're going to kind of have to be left with trying to figure out. Okay, all right. So Dizzy, so nobody has this thing, which is weird. I mean, again, it's supposed to be a public docket. We're supposed to be able to have these things accessible to us. I just don't understand why exactly we don't. But so a little bit of the background, and then what we're gonna do to try to give you a little bit of an idea, kind of like an opening statement in terms of what we're gonna try to do here today. First, I want to watch uh the press conference that came down after the murder arrest, okay, of Brad. They had about a 12-minute press conference down there in Texas. And this all went down, and I butchered all the names of all the Texas towns in the first one. And as predicted during the live, people started putting in the chat, you're saying all the names wrong. People were giving me all kinds of hell about I accidentally called Suzanne Susan a couple times. So, everyone calm down. I'm like when I'm getting into a new case, it's a new case. Like you guys have to know, I'm just like my brain is still very much in Delphi, but I don't want to obsess about that. There's going to be a lull in Delphi as we will move towards sentencing in that case, and then as we move towards the appellate issues and the appeals being filed in that case, obviously that will pick back up. I'm doing a lot of things in the background on that case. So there's plenty more to come on Delphi. Just understand that I am definitely not abandoning Delphi. It's just quiet right now. And I know that there's a lot of great creators out there that are putting out some Delphi stuff, especially Ian Apophis. She's doing great stuff. And I know that Teresa over at Criminality has been putting some great stuff out there. And when T's putting stuff, Sleuthy's always got her hand in over there. She's a mod and super tight with T, and Sleuthy's amazing. So, there's a lot out there, and that case is very much not over. As much as some folks would like it to be. I think that there's enough questions about what happened in that case for us to all keep a very, very close eye on that case. Criminality, Dom's mom, that's Teresa's. All right, so essentially what goes down from what we know, and I'll go through it a little bit like right now, but we know that they were out, they being Brad and Suzanne were out at this place called the Argyle for a friend's birthday party. Like there was something went down there. Suzanne ended up leaving early and she left with their 5-year-old. They went to the market, the HEB. And from that point forward, we know that there was, when she gets back home, that there's some kind of major fight between Brad and Suzanne. And to the extent where a neighbor hears it, he sees it, and he runs inside to get a flashlight, sees Suzanne taking off into the woods. And then at some point later, he hears her screaming, or he believes that it's her screaming. And then we have law enforcement the next day on the 7th, finally, like in the late evening hours, like 10 p.m., finally, one of Suzanne's friends actually calls her in and reports her missing. Shortly thereafter, maybe 40 minutes after, Brad then calls and reports his wife missing, after he's claiming that he hasn't seen her all day. I would, if my wife went missing, I would, like, if she was gone for more than like 5 hours, like after I called all the hospitals and police stations to see if anything had happened, I'd be making a report. So, you take from that what you will. I find it to be very disturbing, and I find it to be indicia of guilt. And look, I'll tell you flat out, all the people like to think that I think that everybody's innocent. That's just the furthest thing from the truth. As a matter of fact, I think the only cases that I've ever felt where we've covered the trial that people are innocent or not even innocent, but like that they were going to be found not guilty were like always the cases that involved self-defense. So that's like Allen is the one where I think that they got it wrong. Like that's that's where I'm at on it, and I could be wrong, but like just the way that that process went, like I don't trust it. Like you have to be able to trust our verdicts in this country. You have to, and when they do the things that they did in that case, things like I had never seen before in any case. Like if you're not questioning it, I'm questioning you. That's the bottom line. Like we have to be able to trust the government, and that thing was just not right. It wasn't. There was something off about it, way, way off. And it wasn't just Gull. It was like the whole thing from beginning to end was off. So at any rate, back to the Simpson case. So we then, after she's reported missing, law enforcement starts digging in immediately. They start tracking, they start pulling subpoenas, they start pulling records, and they start to create a very compelling timeline of a guy that during the week, who theoretically you would think maybe was like working or doing something work related, was doing none of those things and seemed to be running around doing a bunch of just incredibly shady shit. And we went over that in detail from the probable cause affidavit, and I'm sure most of you agree. This one leans heavy guilty to me. Now, like I said, and we'll go through, Dizzy and Tracy were able to pull up an article that was pretty good from the San Antonio Express that talks a little bit about what it is. It's a little bit different than a preliminary hearing. It's kind of an examination where they're saying they have the right to go down into court in Texas and basically have a mini trial to say that, look, we need the state to put out what their evidence is. We want to actually see it because we don't think that they have enough to charge him with this murder. So that's going to be coming in the near future, I'm assuming. I'm sure there's some kind of time limitation in terms of when that must be heard by the courts. So we're going to keep trying to dig to get the actual pleading, because you guys know that I love to dig into the pleading. So, but let's start out with this this press conference, which I think is pretty interesting. And so ultimately, after they dig up all this stuff, they then get the arrest warrant and they arrest Brad Simpson for the murder of his wife. He had been charged with multiple other felonies prior to this taking place. They dropped all that, and now all the focus is on this and on finding where Suzanne Simpson is. So let's start with this press conference, because I think it's pretty interesting. And the Q&A is pretty interesting as well. You know, and you guys know from watching true crime, I mean, law enforcement's not going to be giving any state secrets out. It's just one of those things that's not going to happen. But it's still worth the watch. All right, let's get this thing rolling here.
All right. So I'm Sergeant Deon Cockrell, PIO with the Texas
Can you all hear
Department
it?
of Public Safety. We brought you here today to talk a little bit about and give you some information about the Suzanne murder case, Suzanne Clark Simpson. Behind me, I identify everybody who's here at the press conference. Mind you, at the end, they'll probably take no questions. So with us today, we'll have Chief Villegas, Lieutenant Ruiz, Sergeant Campbell with the Olmos Park Police Department. We also have Mayor Aaron Harrison, City Manager Mike Gaudreau, Regional Director Vincent Luciano, CID Major Ronald Sines, Texas Ranger Perez, all from the Texas Department of Public Safety, FBI Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Edwin Cordova, Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez, and Assistant Bexar County District Attorney Millie Powers and Casey Sandoval. So I will turn it over to the Chief. Chief.
Good afternoon. Yesterday, the Olmos Park Police Department, along with the Texas Rangers, have charged Brad Chandler Simpson with murder in the death of his wife, Suzanne Clark Simpson. We realize that this doesn't bring closure to Suzanne's family, but we hope it will allow them to enter the next phase of their grieving process with more clarity. We'd like to thank Suzanne's family for their support and strength throughout this investigation. They are asking for respect of their privacy, especially for the minor children. There are also many agencies that have helped us in this investigation, and we offer them our sincerest gratitude. This thorough and tireless investigation has been conducted in efforts to find justice for Suzanne and her family. We want to recognize the Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez and his office for their advice and support with the complexities of this investigation. They now begin their work on the prosecution phase of this case. We also want a special thank you to the Department of Public Safety and the Texas Rangers who have worked tirelessly with us, and we thank them very much, along with all the support from the citizens that we've had. We'd like to thank the family and the public, and we want them to know that the search for Suzanne is still ongoing. The Simpson family provided us with this message today to read. So I'll introduce Mr. Brad Simpson.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, so this is Brad's brother. So, which I find very interesting.
It's always important to do what is right, especially when it is most difficult. The situation is heartbreaking for us, but it brings some peace to our family, knowing that the authorities have gathered enough evidence to move forward with charges. This helps us come to terms with the reality that Suzanne is no longer with us, allowing us to continue the difficult process of grieving and focus on rebuilding our lives for the sake of the children and our extended family. We remain deeply appreciative of the Olmos Park Police Department, the Texas Rangers, Texas DPS, and all assisting law enforcement agencies involved, and their dedication and determination to help us find Suzanne. We're also incredibly grateful for the support of our amazing, loving community, and for everyone who has reached out, supported us, and kept us in their prayers. It is our sincere hope and prayer that Brad will find the compassion and courage to end his family's suffering by cooperating with the authorities to help us find his wife. Thank you very much.
Wow. I mean, the dude's brother is calling him out. It's powerful. That's powerful.
Thank you. We'll have Lieutenant Ruiz from the Olmos Park Police Department reiterate some of this in Spanish for you.
Hola. Ayer juntos con los Texas Rangers de Texas acusamos a Brad Chandler Simpson de asesinato por la muerte de su esposa Suzanne Clark Simpson. A lo largo de esa investigación, la familia de Suzanne Simpson ha sido...
Should we listen in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking friends? What do you guys think? Yeah? I don't know.
Esposa Suzanne Clark
Just let me
Simpson.
know in the chat.
A lo largo de esa investigación, la familia de Suzanne Simpson ha sido receptivas y solidaria frente a la adversidad. Este cargo penal no ofrece un cierre en la familia de Suzanne, pero esperamos que puedan entrar a la final de esta tragedia con un mejor conocimiento de las consecuencias de este caso. Los hombres y las mujeres del Departamento de Policía de Olmos Park y el Departamento de Seguro Público de Texas trabajaremos diligentemente con la alcaldesa de la ciudad de Olmos Park, Erin Harrison, y el City Manager de Olmos Park, Mike Goodrow, para resolver esta tragedia. Le damos bastante gracias al condado de Bexar County, fiscal, la oficina de fiscal Joe González, por apoyarlos en esta investigación. Gracias.
That was short. That was good. I think it was good.
Okay. At this time, this concludes our press conference. Anything that you guys need, please feel free to email me. I will stay after for a few minutes and address any of your questions. Thank you.
Chief, do you think you're able to find Suzanne? Joe, is there anything you can say about hospital without bodies? Did Brad cooperating now? I know you did the decision from yesterday. Is James Potter cooperating?
So he clears all these folks out, and then he comes in and takes some questions.
So I know you guys had a lot of questions, and I can't address those, but I can tell you that, as the investigation and the search for Suzanne continues, there's still information we ask. If the public knows anything, please contact the Olmos Park Police Department or the Texas Department of Public Safety. The Rangers have not stopped investigating this case, as it has been turned over to the District Attorney's Department, as Mr. Simpson has been charged with murder. So again, as we said before, the District Attorney starts their process in the prosecution phase, even though we are not stopping our search for Suzanne Clark Simpson.
Regarding the search, can you confirm that y'all are looking in the Bay area?
That is one of the areas that the evidence had turned us to, and so we continue to search wherever any of the evidence comes up.
I know yesterday you brought out Brad Simpson and questioned him. Is he cooperating now?
I don't have the answer, but I do know that they did bring him in and did charge him with murder, and I don't have any comments on any statements he may have
How
made.
much James Potter played in this? Did he?
Right now, I don't know. Like I said, I do know that it just led them to information or his involvement, but I don't have any information on his involvement if it had anything to do with the murder.
Regarding the criminal investigation, a lot of the public are wondering how come somebody can be charged with murder when the body isn't found.
I think if you've seen, investigations going on for a while, and the officers and law enforcement have gathered enough evidence in order to charge him with murder.
Do you know the decision behind sealing that arrest warrant?
I don't. I can only believe that there's still possible evidence in there that they're still trying to either obtain or discover.
What evidence do you guys have that you believe will help you guys convict Brad Simpson?
I don't have that information.
What kind of information did the public come forward with that would help with the investigation?
I don't have that either. I do know that some people had reached out to the Olmos Park PD and to the Rangers with some information, but I don't have any specific information from the public.
Yes, Brad said he's trying to buy several tech children.
I got two.
Is there any possible
Contact with his children?
I'm sorry?
Has Brad Simpson had contact with his children?
Not that I know of.
So I know we got several texts earlier this week asking for our emails, knowing that something was coming this Thursday, and Brad Simpson was charged with murder on Thursday. Did you guys know that we were going to charge him with murder when, we were getting a heads up that we were going to get information on him?
So I got that information just like everybody else. I think when they came up with enough evidence and information to take it to the DA's office, they did so this week, and that's why we're meeting today. Had it been earlier, then we probably would have had a press conference earlier.
Is there anything you can tell us about warrants and technology? How long does it normally take to get the information from a phone, or if you guys release that picture of Brad's truck to us? Have you found anything on the GPS of that truck that helps?
I don't have any information on that. I do know that they continue to search. I can't give you the areas, but yes, they have searched other locations.
How confident are you all that you will find Suzanne's body?
I know that they're not going to stop searching, so.
So at this point, you're still accepting tips from the public for that search?
Yeah, and we had put out the phone number information to the Olmos Park PD, so if anybody has any additional information, feel free to contact the department.
Is Brad Simpson asking for anything in exchange for cooperation?
I have no information on that.
So at this point of the investigation, so, Joe Gonzalez was here, this attorney's officer, Joe Gonzalez was here.
Mhm.
So you're saying that the case is already in the hands of the DA, even when,
Well,
so he's gonna start?
They're going to start working on their part of the prosecution. So once he was charged with murder, that information is presented to the DA. So now they begin their part of the investigation and the prosecution phase.
Even when there's an investigation going on, still?
As we still search for Suzanne and anything comes up, like, so we don't just stop the investigation once it hit the DA's office if any additional information comes up. But as of right now, he's been charged and the DA's taking their part in the process.
How rare is it to charge someone with murder without having a body?
I wouldn't.
What does it take to do that?
enough information for the DA to take it.
Are there nonprofits still involved in the search?
Not that I know of. Two more.
You need your name for the record?
I'm Sergeant Dion Cockrell, PI with the Texas Department of Public Safety. Last name Cockrell.
The first name?
Dion, Deon.
Why is it important that the Texas Rangers were brought in on this?
Well, I think it's such a big case, and the Alamos Park PD asked for their assistance, and as a state agency, we assist all local and other agencies.
What
That's
questions would
fine.
law
Can you make a
enforcement
statement
still
on
like
that?
answering?
Sorry,
What questions would law enforcement still like answered about this case?
what questions would I like? I think the most important thing is trying to find Ms. Clark.
Can you make the same statement that you said, Mr. Simpson is being charged with murder? As if you
Well, I can confirm that you did hear from the Alamos Park Chief Villegas that Brad Simpson has been charged with murder, and the case has been turned over to the DAs. Anything else? Thank you.
All right.
Yes,
So,
please take a seat, state.
okay. So there's that. Now, the next thing that I want to pull up is a article from the San Antonio Express. So I was telling like Dizzy and Mandy, it's like I hate relying on articles just because they get so much wrong in mainstream media. But like this one actually seems relatively competent, and I think it's worth us going through. And it gives us a little more background because I really want to know, who is this guy? Like who is this dude? You know? All right, so let's pull this guy off. Pull this guy up. Okay. All right, so this thing dropped like early too. So this is like October 10 of 2024. Okay. So this is right after she goes missing. So now typically what they'll do is that they will, and again, this is the San Antonio Express News, want to give them credit. Patrick Danners, who wrote the article. So they ask a question, what we know about Brad Simpson, husband of the missing real estate agent, Suzanne Simpson. So Brad Chandler Simpson, husband of missing real estate agent Suzanne Simpson, lived with his wife in one of the region's toniest neighborhoods near Contour Drive on the edge of scenic Olmos Basin. So, but Brad Simpson did not cut a high profile in San Antonio civic and business circles. He is now in Bexar County Jail, charged with the assault in connection with his wife's disappearance. So at that point, remember, they'd only charged him with the assault. Okay, so this was the assault against a family member. This article is pre-arrest for the murder. Okay. So a partial picture of Simpson's professional life emerges from court and business records. So they did a bit of a deep dive, which is what I was interested in getting into here with him today. So he's been an investor in numerous private partnerships in real estate and construction. For 10 years, he was a property manager for Cotter and Sons. Now, if that name is ringing a bell for you, that is because his buddy, Cotter, was also charged with obstruction of justice because if you recall, when we were reading through the probable cause affidavit, there were these text messages between Simpson and Cotter where he's basically saying, hey, man, like, I need you to get rid of this gun for me. And the dude's like, bring it on over. Come on over. You know, he's like, I got you. You're my brother. All that kind of stuff's going on. So for 10 years, he was a property manager for Cotter and Sons, a San Antonio company that owned big office buildings. While working there, Simpson became embroiled in a nasty legal dispute with his employer and its founder and namesake, James F. Cotter, who was the buddy Cotter's father. So American Express has also sued Simpson twice for allegedly paying to fail his credit card bills. Now, if you guys don't know how Amex works, Amex is not it's really a charge card. It's not a credit card. It's different. Like you can't pay off over time with most. There are accounts with Amex that you have that you can have where you can pay off over time your debt. But typically with Amex, at the end of the month, you use it, you charge it, and then at the end of the month, you pay it off every month in full. So obviously, he was having a hard time because, like, the question that we should all be asking ourselves is, you hear things like real estate developer, which is a very broad kind of thing to do for a living. Like you can, is he flipping houses? Is he in commercial real estate? Is he in real property with, just houses? Is it commercial or residential? Like we don't know any of these things. So these are kind of the things that I want to know because like he has been deemed indigent, meaning that he was appointed a public defender in this case, which is strange, right? It seems like there's money here. And apparently there's no money here. Because what happens when you go into a court, at least in Illinois, is that they will say, do you have money to hire an attorney? If you say no, typically they have you fill out kind of an application saying that you're indigent, saying that this is how much I have in my bank account, like I'm unemployed at this point. So I'm sure part of this guy's argument is going to be, well, my bond's so high, I'm never going to be able to bond out. And if I can't be out there working, then I'm not going to have any money. So, but what it also tells us is that there might be nothing in savings. And what it also might tell us is that the money came from Suzanne and not this guy. Like all those things are probably true to some extent because, I mean, the court had to have done some kind of minimal amount of research to figure out that this guy truly didn't have money. Like you can't go in there and hoodwink the court into saying, yeah, I'm broke. Plus, I've said it a million times, you can get great public defenders. There are great lawyers that are public defenders. My dad was a public defender for 14 years. The problem with public defenders is that they're stretched on time. They cannot dedicate the amount of time that private counsel can on cases like this. So, it's always going to be the preference, and you're not picking them. Whoever gets appointed to you, that's your lawyer. It's a vastly different thing if you're arrested and you are able to call a bunch of lawyers, talk to a bunch of lawyers, hear what they have to say, hey, I like the way that this person sounds. What's the retainer going to be? And if you can work out a retainer agreement, then you hire that person. You're actually choosing that lawyer. Whereas with a public defender, you're not. You're being appointed, whoever gets appointed. And it's not optimal. And if you don't like that lawyer, you're stuck with that lawyer typically. It's really, really difficult to get new lawyers. I mean, we know that Sarah Boone did it, and we saw how that turned out for her after she fired all those, kept trying to get new public defenders, just claiming that they were always biased against her. And, the judge gave her the longest rope I can remember anyone ever getting until he snipped the rope completely and says, you're done. I'm done giving you lawyers, lady. Gave you 8 of them. And then, she found dude who came in. All right. So, but I think that's interesting is that he has a public defender. So Simpson is linked to 15 Texas companies, most of which, let me blow it up for y'all a little bit so you can read along with me. Simpson is linked to 15 Texas companies, most of which have gone out of business, according to the Texas Secretary of State. Now, Dizzy spent some time today pulling up some of his filings or some of his different organizational filings. I'm going to pull a couple of them up. Most notably, she pulled up the Quorum Real Estate Partners, which we're getting to. But most of them are inactive. Like Dizzy went way back. She was all the way back into 1999. Where he's, this guy's been trying to eke a living out like in the real estate world for a long time. And there's peaks and valleys. Obviously, if you were in the real estate arena back when we had the crash in 2008, it was really tough to make a living right then, in real estate, unless you were a hedge fund person. So like people that were trying to buy and sell houses or flip houses, that all went away. Like the loans dried up. Lenders weren't willing to loan money because they were trying to figure out how to foreclose on millions and millions of defaulted loans, and it was just a nightmare. So, that was a tough time to make money in the real estate world. So 4 of his limited liability companies, Nick's Commercial, Schleidel, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Scheidroloni, whatever. I feel like Steve publicly buzzed trying to read a somebody's like moniker. I don't even know what it is. Now I feel like I'm challenged by it though. SRS Hydroloni. I don't know what it. Quorum Real Estate Partners Management and Bandina Falls are all listed as active. Okay, so Bandina Falls bought a residential property in the city of Bandera from Simpson's mother, Tommy Deanne Simpson, in 2015, records show. The 3-acre property on Highland Drive near Medina River, is it Medina or Medina? Does anybody know? Has an appraised value of $579,200, and it includes a 2,600 square foot building. So kind of one of the things, like when I realized that Suzanne was a real estate agent, a lot of times when you get like this kind of thing where you've got one of them is either like a mortgage broker, or one of them is acquiring properties, and then you'll oftentimes have Hydrolin. There you go. SRS Hydrolin. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know what that, maybe. I don't know. That's a good one, Sandra. I think that might be it too, just mashed together. But you have this situation where you'll have one of the either family members or close personal friends is a real estate agent, because then you're keeping all the money in house. So if he's in the business of flipping properties, he goes out, he acquires the property, he does the rehab on it, and then they put it on the market. And then I'm thinking it would make sense if Suzanne was the listing agent on these things. So then when she sells, she's obviously getting the money from the commission on the sale. And then you can kind of keep all the money churning, like in-house, which is obviously going to be something that is typically going to be the most attractive way to run a business like that. So then let's dig into Cotter and Sons. So let's get a little bit more about this. So court records show that Simpson worked at Cotter and Sons from 2002 to 2012. James F. Cotter, a real estate tycoon, owns 66 properties in 6 states. Yeah, that would qualify as a tycoon. Among his holdings were the Twin Alamo Towers along the Northeast Loop on 410 and the 2 petroleum towers just around the corner on Tesoro Drive. In 2012, a janitorial company called BJ Corp, doing business as a national building service, sued Cotter and Sons, alleging that it failed to pay for cleaning service at various buildings. BJ said that it had negotiated its cleaning contract with Simpson and Cotter's son, James Val Cotter, who were both vice presidents at Cotter and Sons. BJ said that it learned later that neither Simpson nor Val Cotter had any authority to sign the contracts. In addition to suing the company, BJ sued both men for fraud. Then matters got really complicated. So this is like the background of what's going on in this guy's life. It's like when we sit here and try to psychologically figure out what is happening that would drive somebody to the point where that they land on the decision that unaliving my wife, the mother of my children, is going to be the best idea. You have to start digging deeper back into it. You have to start looking at everything that's going on. It's a lot like what you saw with Murdoch. You start to realize there's all this horrible shit going on. He's stealing all the money from his clients. He's, hooked on, pain pills and opioids, and he's like, he's spun out of control. He's basically Ponzi scheming everybody out there. The dude was falling apart. Like everything in his life was going on. Yeah, I mean, large life insurance policy, maybe, but I mean, the number one thing that insurance companies do is do everything in their power not to pay out claims. And that especially is the case when you have life insurance policy claims. Like if you have a case where like somebody goes missing, they're not paying that claim out. They're not paying that claim out. It's like we saw in the Corey Richens when we went through, and that's another case that we're going to be following pretty heavily over here. But, she was able to finally get them to pay out. I think. Was that Corey Richens? No, he wasn't. His body wasn't missing. Who was it? I don't know who it was. It was a missing body case. Maybe if you guys can remember, I covered it, and I'm mixing it up with Richens. But it was a situation where there was a missing body for a few years. And then the wife actually got the insurance company to pay out. So, but I mean, so to me, the life insurance thing doesn't make sense as a motive here. So let's see if we can glean anything from what's going on here. So then matters really got complicated. In 2013, Cotter and Sons filed its own suit against Simpson, alleging that he ripped off his employer several years earlier by forming a janitorial services company, hiring it to work for Cotter and Sons, and then charging above market rates. Simpson's company, which he created in 2009, was called Premier Facility Solutions of San Antonio, or PFS. After James Cotter discovered Simpson's connections to PFS, he told Simpson to fire PFS and hire another firm. Hey, look, I want you to fire your company and hire somebody else. So to fire PFS and hire another firm to handle the work, Cotter and Sons lawsuit said. The lawsuit claimed that Simpson had engaged in further skullduggery. A great word. Involving BJ Corp. According to the Cotter and Sons suit, Simpson made a deal with BJ that called on the firm to pay $100,000 for PFS's assets. But the only assets PFS had were its cleaning contracts with Cotter and Sons, said the company. All right, so essentially he's in a position to where he creates his own cleaning company. And as a VP in this company with Cotter and Sons, he then hires his own company to do the cleaning. When the old man finds out about it, he says, nah. Somehow he doesn't fire him, but he keeps him on. He's like, you need to find another company to do it. Like, I want you to. So this guy then goes out and he finds this BJ Corp and says, look, I'm going to hire you. Like, this is an amazing contract. Like, we have huge buildings, just huge skyscraper buildings. Like, this is an amazing contract for you. It's going to be worth millions. But here's what the deal is. Like, before I sign off on y'all, my own cleaning company used to be who handled this contract. It got aced, but I've got, you got to pay me out on this thing, man. Like, I'm like, so he basically hoodwinks these guys to paying him $100,000 in order to give them the bid. Total kickback. So he says, but the only assets that PFS had were its cleaning contracts with Cotter and Sons, the company said. So Cotter and Sons sued Simpson for commercial bribery and breach of fiduciary duty, it said. That he should be liable for the damage BJ was seeking from Cotter and Sons. Simpson disputed the allegations against him. That's all bullshit. These guys are lying. Sounds like it's very much not bullshit. And it sounds like this guy is just a big scam artist. So now we're starting to get like, this is not that long ago, and people don't change. Like this guy, he's like, this is how this guy operates. This guy isn't willing to put in an honest day's work to make an honest day's pay. He's just not willing to do it. Like he's always trying to work a scam. Like you can see it going back. You guys, like, you think anything changes in the next 10 years or 9 years? So now we're going to start seeing what's up. So then the case against Cotter and Sons by BJ went to trial in 2015, and they were awarded $930,000 in damages, attorney's fees, and interest. So Cotter and Sons is now on the hook for almost $1 million for whatever was going on with them not paying BJ Corp, because apparently they just did the work and they were never getting paid, and they were trying to say, oh, well, I didn't even have authority to sign that contract. I don't know. So the jury determined that neither Cotter and Sons nor BJ should collect anything from Simpson or Val Cotter. Wow. Simpson, quote, won at the trial court, and the case was ultimately resolved 100% in his favor, end quote, said San Antonio attorney Henry B. Gonzalez, who defended Simpson. He didn't have to pay anything, and he didn't have to admit to anything. The case was appealed to the Texas Supreme Court. Court records show the parties reached a confidential settlement in 2018. PFS ceased doing business in 2010. Old man Cotter, James F. Cotter, died in 2017 at the age of 83. His heirs have been battling over his estate. The Cotter and Sons case won't be the last time Simpson lands in court. So then we've got credit card delinquencies. American Express sued Simpson and one of his companies, Live Oak Investments, in 2019, alleging that they failed to pay nearly $14,700 in damage or in charges. Simpson ran up a bill on Amex Platinum, business platinum card with $13,000 in spending limit. Simpson liked to dine out. Court records show in late summer of 2018, he spent $210.33 at Mary Lou's Cafe in Alamos Park, $175.70 at Botica, and $174.23 at Cured, both high-end eateries at the Pearl. He also shelled out a combined $175 on 2 occasions at Sushi Zushi in Lincoln Heights. American Express wanted default judgment for the unpaid bill. Now, default judgment means that he was served properly with a complaint. That was probably, like, I don't know how the systems work out here, but like under 10,000 Illinois is small claims. You get law and division, like over 50,000. Everything else falls into mediation. But he got served with a complaint and he didn't show up. He didn't file an answer and he didn't show up in court. That's how they got the default. So in 2020, after Simpson failed to respond to the lawsuit, the parties eventually reached an agreement that required Simpson and Live Oak to pay $7,500 spread out over 12 monthly payments. The judgment was satisfied in 2022. American Express sued Simpson again in early 2020 for allegedly stiffing the company for almost $11,100 in charges on his business gold rewards card, which had a $10,700 spending limit. Both accounts were canceled, according to court records. So there you go. So that's a little bit about what was going on with this dude prior to. So let me see. I want to look and see if I can pull up. I want to see what Dizzy sent me. They're mildly interesting. It's a little bit of digging into what this guy has going on. So she pulled up a ton of property docs, and they're all from different time frames. So let's see. Let's just look at his businesses first. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let me pull these guys up over here. Move this over here. Okay. Because I mean, there's got to be a reason, right? I mean, or maybe just total psychopath. I mean, is that what it is? Like, is everything collapsing around this guy and he just doesn't know what else to do? Oh wait, never mind. That's the wrong thing. Hold on. Bear with me. These are all zipped. Let me see. Okay, so here we go. Okay, and is this one as well? That looks like one of them too. Okay, I think I got it. Bear with me, y'all. Someday I'm going to have somebody that pulls all these things up for me while I'm doing lives. All right, so let's see. Okay, got these. Pull these guys up. All right, so Dizzy pulled these all up during the day. So these are some businesses he created over the years. So we've got the BCS Enterprises, super creative. Brad Simpson Enterprises, real creative name there. All right, so he creates this thing, and it's a proprietorship. He gives the business address, which I'm assuming is his home. And let's see, we've got, yeah, there's definitely no excuse for what he did. I'm trying to figure out a motive, like there's never an excuse for doing what he did. That's for sure. So he creates this thing. It's really tough to read. It looks like in 1997. So, and here you really don't see what it does. Like here when we start a business, we kind of have to give an idea of what it is that we're going to do as a business. Apparently in Texas, they don't care. She's like, yeah, go ahead, start a business. All right, so let's see with this one. So here, and again, this is in 1999, he creates this Delta Dunescape Safaris. I'm dying to know what that is. Like, I'm really, really dying to know what is the Delta Dunescape Safaris? Is that like a landscaping business where they try to create like kind of little safari looking things? I mean, maybe that's another proprietorship. And this thing ends up, again, no real description of what he does there with that business. So then we get into like more recent times. He creates Quorum, which we know is still active. And again, the physical address is out of the house, I think. And that's Quorum Real Estate Partners. And he creates a 10-year period that name will be used, the entity will be used. He is the only one listed as the owner of the business. As you can see, Suzanne's not on there. But just so you know, like in almost every state in the union, every business that you start during the course of a marriage is marital property, whether you put your spouse's name on any of the documents or not. That particular circumstance is pretty much the case in most states. And I can't say it's all of them because I don't know the law in all of them. So he creates this where, he's doing his real estate business. All right. And then, so he's got this one, which is Quorum Real Estate Partners, but he has no partners. It's just him. And that's in so that's February 11th of 2020. And then same day, he creates Quorum Development. So he's got 2 different businesses that he starts, both located at 520 East Alamos Drive. Right. And then we've got, again, he's the only owner, only principal in the business. And he pays a solid $14 to create that. And so that's basically what we have going on with this guy. So, the question for me becomes like, what the hell was he doing over the next 2 days driving around? Because he surely wasn't conducting business, right? I mean, we all agree that he certainly did not seem to be conducting business. I mean, he's going and doing, weird shit at Home Depot. He's using some dude's phone in the parking lot, asking where the dump is. And, I can't search it on my phone. That would look super sus. It's like he's just doing a lot of weird things. All right, so what I want to try to pull up now. So Kasha, one of our awesome mods, made a few maps for us. I want to see if I can get these things pulled up. If I can make them bigger. Okay, so that's a pretty good one. All right, let me exit full screen. Let me move these little guys over here. Get those guys. All right, I'm gonna get these maps ready to pull up. It's got a few of them. They're all pretty good. Spent time. Kasha spent time. Kasha's one of our awesome mods. This one. And okay. I like this one too. Like, this is what I was hoping to have the other night. So Kasha took care of us. Got these guys' locations and then a close-up map. All right. Okay. And then we got this guy here. Location. Oh, so I think we got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, the first one I want to pull up, I kind of like let's look at just the map of the town. It's kind of the town map first and see what the deal is over here. Okay. Okay, this is the close-up of the town. All right, so here we've got, this is the town. Let me open this up bigger. Okay. Okay, can you guys see that? Is it big enough? Okay. All right, so you can see this has kind of the most of the places of interest in the in and around the area. All right, so like these have the places that we hear about in the probable cause affidavit. So we've got the Argyle here. So this is on the 6th. This is where the dispute, the fight happens at the birthday party, and Suzanne leaves, and then she goes over to the HEB here. Okay, so you can see over here the HEB at this spot, and she gets there at 8:40. HEB, from what I understand, is like a supermarket. So she goes in there, gets a little food. Now you can also see the Argyle and HEB are very close to the Simpson home, which is right here in the middle. Close to the zoo too, huh? All right. So then at this point, so that pretty much gives us what goes down that night in terms of what we know from video and from witness accounts. So they're at the Argyle, the fight breaks out there. Suzanne and the 5-year-old leave. She goes to HEB. At that point, she gets home. And after they're at the Argyle, yeah, I'm assuming she leaves him and they came in 2 separate cars is the way that it sounds. Okay. Because I'm not under the impression that he left with Suzanne when she left for the HEB. I think she left just with her 5-year-old. So they get there, they go home. Then we know that at 9:15 that Suzanne calls a guy named Graham Matthews to say she was coming over. She gets there at 9:25. I don't know if we have Graham Matthews on here. Looks like we have some stuff that's taking place. Let me see. We might have. All right, I'm gonna switch it over to this guy. This guy's got all the stuff, I think, and all the different places. All right, so let me pull up. Stop sharing that guy. Pull up this guy. Okay. Okay, so this is the locations overview. This is the one I want to see. Okay. All right, so this is another map that's got. Okay. So this has all the stuff going on here. Let me try to zoom it in a little bit here. Okay. So the one thing I'm not seeing on here, maybe I'm just missing it, is Graham's house. So Graham Matthews, 9:15. So she drops the 5-year-old off at home, which again is right here in the middle, Simpson home right there. She calls her friend, says, I'm coming over, gets there at 9:25. So it's 10 minutes away. So it can't be that far. Like, I'm not seeing the indicator. We probably don't know Graham's address, which is why it's probably not on the map. Okay. And at 9, so she gets there at 9:25. That is seen on camera. So en route from 9:16 to 9:24, Suzanne calls her mom, Barbara Clark, to report that she had just been assaulted by her husband. Scarlett, are you in here hiding? I feel like Scout's in here. So at 9:16, they have a 10-minute phone call. Now, this is the part that I was confused about when I was reading the probable cause affidavit, and I'm still confused about it. Okay, and maybe if you guys know in the chat, if you got somebody who works for like a provider, a cell provider, maybe you know. So we know that there's a phone call that takes place from 9:16 to 9:24, and I'm assuming it's on her phone, right? I mean, she's in the car, she's driving to Graham's. She calls her mom. She's like, this bastard's done it again. Her mom's saying, don't go back there. She's like, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's like I left the baby there and like I don't know what to do. But so here's what confuses me. At 9:16, the creep is shutting off, suspending her service. So Brad is calling up AT&T and like, I need the service suspended on this line. So if the line is suspended at 9:16, is there just like a gap in time? Like, is that when the work order's put in, but the suspension on the actual service doesn't start for like a few minutes? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So then we've got, but I mean, because it must be that because she can't continue to be talking to her mother if the line has been shut down, right? So, well, then explain it, Mandy. It's one thing to yell at me, but you're not giving me an explanation how she's still talking to her mother if he used the app and shut the line down. I don't know. I mean, but are you guys getting the point? She's still on the phone with her mom at the time that he shuts the line down. That's what I'm trying to tell you. How does that work? I understand. I see what you guys are all saying. You're not giving me an answer. How does she continue to be on the phone for, I'm going to put that up there. How does the phone continue to work for 10 minutes if he shut the line down? There must be a gap in time. There has to be a gap in time. So at 10 p.m., she ends up coming back home. Make sure that door is all the way shut, Bubs. At 10 p.m., she comes back home because she's arguing with Brad. Like, so after he's cut off her phone, he's now forcing her hand. She's now, I'm sure, terrified about leaving her child in that house with this guy because he's an absolute psycho. So she goes home. Neighbor Hernandez sees them both arguing loudly, and it gets physical. Okay. So then Suzanne runs into the woods. She runs west of the house. This Hernandez guy, the neighbor, runs into his house, tries to get a flashlight, and starts to go look for her. Can't find her. And then he says an hour later, or no, he says in like sometime later, without any kind of delineation as to the time, he says he hears screams coming from the wooded area across from the home, his home. An hour later, he hears Brad's truck depart. And then an hour after that, he hears the truck come back. Yet, as much as I appreciate this guy giving a statement, why didn't he call the cops? Is it possible that Suzanne Simpson's still alive if this guy calls the cops? I mean, it's certainly enough to get him out there. Yeah, I saw my neighbors. They were in a fight. I saw the husband. I mean, it was enough for them to charge him for the assault on a family member. Like they charged, that was that charge. It comes from this guy's statement. So it was certainly enough to get the cops out there. When he hears the screams, I mean, it's weird that he didn't call. I mean, maybe he's like, I don't want to get involved. You cannot sit idly back when somebody is in peril. I'm sorry. Like, you've got to involve yourself. Like, I would never allow that to happen. Like, I would have gone over there myself and put a beating on Brad Simpson, probably, is what I would have done. And then I would have ended up in jail. But Suzanne would probably still be alive. All right. So October 7. Now we're going to get into the next day. And we got most of the things in here. So at 12:33 a.m., Brad's truck is on the HEB camera. Okay. And we got HEB right over here. All right. Got it right here. Okay. So, and when they see his truck at 12:33 a.m., there's nothing in the back in the cargo area of the pickup except for a large gray ice chest. Fast forward to 7:15 a.m. Suzanne, her phone pings one last time in a business park in Almost Park at 7:15 a.m. So I'm not seeing that on here. We must not have the address. Like, I'm assuming if Kasha didn't put it on here that we do not have the address of the particular place. Okay. All right. So at 7:53, Brad Simpson's truck is seen dropping off the daughter at the school with two, and when it's caught on the camera, you see 2 white trash bags and a large ice chest in the truck bed. Okay, so here's the school up here. You can see this pink one right here. So you got the school. So these are all really close proximity to one another. This is all in the hood. This is all in the hood. Now we know that when the 5-year-old gets to school, that she tells one of the people in that daycare or that preschool, mommy and daddy were in a big fight, and that my daddy hit my mommy, and that he turned her phone off. So she spills all that. Okay. And so at 9:12, he's up here. So he drops his daughter off, goes up to Whataburger over here at 9:12 a.m. So it's not an overly long drive, right? Probably looks like about I don't know, what do you guys say? A 10-minute drive from the school, hop on the 10, get up there, maybe 15 minutes. So they catch him on the Whataburger. He's got the 3 white trash bags, the large gray trash can, the ice chest, a bulky item wrapped in a blue tarp with a firewood rack on top to weigh it down. So that would seem to be Suzanne's remains, right? So then at 9:53, so like, what does this guy do from 9:12 for 40 minutes? Right? Because you can see the depot's right next door to Whataburger. Because they geolocate him at the depot. Still got everything still in the truck and the bed back there. But now he's purchased 2 bags of Quikrete cement. He's got a construction bucket, orange, box of trash bags and Clorox disinfectant and insect repellent. Pays in cash. Sees a dude in the parking lot, a guy named Joseph Austin Maxwell. And he says, "Hey, man, you happen to know where the nearest dump is?" And he says, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, there's one over here, Kendall County Solid Waste." So I think he actually uses the guy's phone to look up the directions. So now he's getting smart. Now he's getting smart. Now he's like, he's got all this shit going on his phones. He's all over the place. He's driving around. We don't know what he's doing for 40 minutes here. What is he doing for 40 minutes? What do you guys think he's doing for 40 minutes? I don't know. Sitting in the parking lot, reading the paper, going through his socials. I mean, does he have his deceased wife like in a tarp in the back of his pickup and he's sitting there like, what a psycho. What a psychopath. Seemingly a psychopath. At 10:07 a.m., a license plates reader sees the truck. Brad puts his phone into lockdown mode, and the cameras see on the video the truck leaving the waste site at 11:15 a.m. All right, so there we've got Valero stripes, 11:15 a.m. This is the solid. You guys see that? The solid waste site right here. I mean, he's in there for a hot minute. Like, why do they have the video of him? Like, why they have him leaving? So it says 10:07 a.m. The license plate reader sees the truck. Phone goes into lockdown mode. Camera sees the truck on video leaving the wayside. Is that at 10:07? Because then it Valero, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. So the wayside here. So he's there leaving at 10:07. So he's not there long. Like if he's at the depot at 9:53, he drives up here and then he's leaving at 10:07. And then he's at a Valero Stripes. Is that a gas station? We don't have Valeros by us, but I think I remember that we have Valero. Like I know that a Valero is a gas station. I don't know if that Valero Stripes. So he's there at 11:15. Caught on camera again. This time the white trash bags are gone from the truck, but the blue tarp and firewood rack and the trash can are all still present. They also notice that he has changed his footwear from men's sandals into cowboy boots. Interesting. So you've got him doing a lot of stuff in here on the morning right after he drops his daughter off to school. Now, the question I have, he drops his daughter off at 7:53. But there are some gaps in the timeline, which I'm hoping will get filled in over time. Because, I mean, it's not easy for law enforcement. It's like he's turning off his phone, right? So they're going to lose him. He's going to be off grid in terms of being able to geolocate him through his phone. So then it becomes an issue of, okay, let's look at the bank records. Let's see if this guy was stupid enough to use his debit card anywhere. Let's look at video from different places, different businesses. I mean, what the hope is when you get a case like this is you get a bunch of concerned citizens. You get a bunch of concerned business owners that are all over the place, like everywhere this dude's driving, like everywhere around the little neighborhood here, like that everybody's looking at their videos to see if they catch this dude in his big 2019 Black Sierra driving around, so that they can start putting these gaps in time together, right? Because there are some gaps. Like when he drops his 5-year-old daughter off, does he have this blue tarp that potentially is containing her mother in the back of his truck? Is he that sick? I mean, I think we know the question to that. But or is he going back home? Is he loading up the vehicle? And where did the homicide take place? Is it out in the woods? I mean, there are many, many questions here, because at this point that law enforcement still has not been able to locate her, and they've been 30 days looking for her. And you can tell by the probable cause affidavit that they have done really good police work. So, Lone, are we aware if they dragged the lake? Because that lake you say is right there. Have they dragged that lake? You guys, if you know if they've dragged that lake, throw it in the chat. All right, so then we've got, I'm going to zoom back out again. So, I'm a little confused, and I know that Kasha's pulling this directly from the PCA. So you got the 10:07 a.m. license plate reader, and then they've got him leaving the waste site at 10:07. That seems very short. And then, where is he at between 10:07, or is that maybe that's just a license plate reader sees the truck? And then at 11:15, no, it doesn't make any sense. It's 11:15 Valero. He's pulling out. He's changed his footwear. The white bags are gone. The blue tarp is still there. I don't know. So you've got, and I think I'm saying Bernie, right? I'm saying Bernie is correct. So the video canvassing the team located surveillance cameras, or the video canvassing team, they located surveillance cameras showing Brad's truck heading westbound from Bernie into Bandera into Medina. So there you've got that here. Okay. So you got those 3 spots right in there. And I mean, it doesn't, to me, like this looks like really rural shit out here, right? Like this does not look like super populated, but you guys know better than I. Is this a very populated area out here in Bandera and Medina or Medina? You know, like, cause so they've got him going out there, and then he remains in Medina and Bandera County, Texas for 13 minutes, then heads back eastbound to Kendall County. All right. So from 11:15 till the next time that we get a time on him, it's 1:41 p.m. So the flock, the license plate reader, they get him entering Bernie County or Bernie, Kendall County from Bandera at 1:41 p.m. Now at this point, when they catch him on camera again, the tarp is no longer visible and the firewood rack is repositioned. Okay. Now, so look, it seems to me that what's going to make the most sense, and I hate to even say it because it's like trigger warning type stuff, but if I had to guess, it seems like there was some dismemberment going on and that there was just parts left in different areas all over the place as opposed to one intact body. Obviously, I could be completely wrong, but with like this kind of movement, like coming out, he's at the waist site. You know, is he getting rid of murder weapons, saws, clothes, everything that you need to get rid of in order to try? And you're not going to get rid of it in one place, right? You're just not. You're gonna spread it out to various different places. And again, you know, like at this point, now I know y'all have the death penalty down there in Texas, right? So to me, the biggest carrot for this guy is if they say, look, if you're man enough to allow your children to say goodbye to their mother properly by just telling us where we can find her, we'll take the death penalty off the table and we'll let your ass rot in prison for the rest of your life. Which, if you know anything about me, I'm telling you, I don't give a shit if they get to watch TV. I don't give a shit if they get to eat. You are robbed of everything that makes life worth living, and you are living in a cage for the entirety of your life. There is no worse punishment than that. I've said it a million times on my lives that, like, to be honest with you, the death penalty is the easy way out. You're letting that guy off the hook. You're letting him off the hook. I know it seems like revenge, yeah, eye for an eye. You're letting him off the hook. You want to really punish somebody, you keep that sucker in a cage for 50 years. There's nothing that punishes somebody worse than that. I don't care what they're doing in there. They're not doing anything that any of us take for granted every single day of our lives. I promise you that. They are not doing it. All right, so we know at 3:27, he's back up to pick up his sweet little girl. 3:27, back by the house. And at this point, we still know that the truck bed is clear of the blue tarp and the firewood rack. The ice chest is still there. At 4:07, while he's got his daughter in tow, they then head over to this. So this is the preschool here. You guys can see it up here. 4:07, after he picks his little girl up, we don't know what they do for a half an hour, but they're then seen at the car wash, getting that car all cleaned up from a busy day on the job, busy day working, right, Brad? Busy day out there taking care of family, right, buddy? So that's 4:07. And then at 9:57 p.m., Sonny Jane Woods and a group of friends who are all together talking about, where is Suzanne? Why haven't we heard from Suzanne? They finally report her missing. And Brad catches wind of it. And so at 10:11, Brad decides to report his wife missing. And he makes his first inculpatory statement that he says that he hasn't seen her. And this is on 10/7, remember. He says that he hasn't seen her since 11 p.m. on the 6th. So on the 9th, on October 9th, at that point, they get the arrest warrant signed off by the judge. Excuse me. At 12:42 a.m. And that is for the family violence, the assault for family violence, and the unlawful restraint. Brad is picked up the morning of 10/9. And I talked about it a little bit earlier. In cases like this, where they have not been able to locate Suzanne, where they are completely confident that something nefarious has happened, and they are also, at this point, confident that it's Brad who did it, they need him off the street. And it's not even necessarily because they're worried about him doing it to somebody else. They're worried about him destroying more evidence. So that's when they end up getting him in custody and set a bond that he can't pay so they can figure this shit out. Which is exactly what they start doing. All of this work that you see that we've been going through was while he's in custody. And it's a massive amount of work by law enforcement. It's all hands on deck type of stuff. So do we know, has anybody gotten their hands on the custodial interview yet? Do those exist out in the world? We need to try to FOIA that. I want to see these interviews. Like these interviews, when they make it out, man, they tell a tale. They really tell a tale. So he's in custody. That's when he does the first interview. That's when Perez, the cop who drafted up the probable cause affidavit, notes numerous lacerations and bruises on his hands and arms. That's when Brad tells the bullshit story that she lost her phone at HEB on 10/6. Oh, yeah, she lost her phone. We all have Find My iPhone, Pinhead. Like, no one's buying your shit, bro. Like, no one's buying it. 10-9. They conduct a search at the house while Brad's in custody. They notice an indentation on the wall at the bottom of the stairs. Chelsea, one of the daughters, says, "That's new. That's new." Oh, is that true, Diz? I believe it. Don't mess with Texas, man. Y'all got your own thing going on down there. So also, housekeeper Maria Roca Rodriguez confirms that the white trash bags with the red handles are what they use in that house. At 10-9, they do another search at the Highland Drive Ranch. It's where they find the burn pit. They find a burnt laptop and multiple cellular devices. And that's actually when they're going to pick him up to arrest him. He's standing right in front of the burn pit with all these phones, burning his laptop. No, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing shady about that. Like, whatever this thing is that got filed by his defense attorney, like there is going to be like they don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt at that stage anything. I imagine it's going to be a showing of probable cause. You got a guy driving around all morning on the 7th, not doing a damn thing related to working, with all kinds of stuff that looks super shady in the back of his truck, and these things vanishing after he goes to dumps, after he goes out to remote areas. These things all seem to be vanishing. And then you've got him the morning that they're coming, or when they're coming to arrest him. He's standing there in front of a burn pit, burning his laptop and 3 of the cellular devices that he owned. I mean, that's probable cause right there. It's just probable cause. So on 10-10, going back to 10-8 at 9 a.m., that's when Brad told the chief that he had seen his wife, not the night before at 11 p.m., but instead at 6:30 in the morning on the 7th, right before he dropped their 5-year-old off to school. So his story changed. Said she was sleeping. So at 10-10, on 10-10, there's presumptive blood, positive test for positive blood found in the truck. Turns out to be Brad's. On 10-10, Val Cotter's interviewed. They look at his phone. It's where they see all the text messages. "Hey, man, I got to get rid of this gun. Make sure you get rid of the AK. I got you, bro. I got you." Like, what kind of dude, like, helps somebody, like, hide the murder of their wife? I mean, seriously, man. So on 10-23, so on 10-12, they get the HEB video. On 10-23, there's a subsequent search at the Simpson home. They find 1 bag of the cement, the Quikrete. They find the trash bag box with 4 missing bags and the metal firewood rack resting in its normal place. And that's kind of where we're at with it right now. So, like, I want to keep looking into this case. So if any of y'all out there are diggers, get the stuff to Mandy or Dizzy. Like, they'll put in the email for us. They'll put it right here in the chat, because we love assistance from people. We love it. I don't know, Nancy. It's a good question. What does he have on his buddy? I don't know what he has on him. It's weird. It's strange. But I mean, you just got to be a moron You're going to flamethrow your whole life by like helping this. Like, do people not realize at this point that we are so on the grid? It is nearly impossible to get away with a crime these days, especially something as complex as unaliving someone, because disposing of a body is a massive undertaking. Massive. Like it's almost impossible to be able to drive anywhere without being caught on surveillance video of some kind, whether it's businesses, whether it's Ring cameras, whatever. Forget about leaving your phone. Like, that's elementary stuff. Like, yeah, you don't bring your phone. Like, leave that at the house. It doesn't matter. You can't go anywhere where you're not on the grid. So it's like the fact that these people continue to do these things is just mind-blowing to me. It's just mind-blowing to me. Really is. All right. I'm gonna wrap it. It was fun. It was a good hour 40. I hope it was somewhat informative. I appreciate y'all hanging. We had a nice little crowd in here. Give a few thank yous out there. Cool Lady gifted 5 DD podcast memberships. Appreciate you always. Got a new member, Little GTO. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the fam. Family hug. Love it. And then we did have one question. Why do they think she's dead? Seems a bit hasty with no more evidence than they have, right? No, doesn't seem hasty to me at all. Like, you've got 4 kids ranging from adult children to little children. I'm going to give a lot of credence to the adult children that say that our mother would never disappear without at least letting one of us know. I mean, is it possible that she would have dipped out on this guy? Yeah. But leave her 5-year-old in tow? Not a chance. Not a chance. You don't think she would have reached out to her adult children, been like, I'm okay. I'm okay. But you can't say anything. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's hasty. I really don't. She's been gone 30 days, dude. More than. You know? That's why these no body cases are always tough. They used to not prosecute them. They do now. They do now. You know, because you worry about jurors like Saipanen over here. Like, you know, you need a body. You got to know. You need to know. And I can't say that, you know, you're wrong. I mean, it's if you ask any prosecutor in the country, they're going to tell you if they had their druthers, they'd obviously rather have the victim's body. Because there is that, as remote as it may seem, that possibility that that person's still out there alive, right? So we're going to keep following this one. I really appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Just remember, please remember to share, like, subscribe. If you love the show, become a member. I'm going to start doing member only stuff like ASAP. Now that Delphi has like calmed down, the trial's over, I think I'm going to start doing at least one member only thing a week. Probably something along the lines of what Josh does over there. I'm going to probably have some of my creator friends come on, give some backstory. You know, it'll be pretty interesting, and I think it'll be entertaining for you guys. Probably give you some more inside deets about the Matas and what we do back here in our little house. But you know, please share, like, subscribe. I think we just broke 35,000. So I'm so grateful to all of you that have helped form this amazing community. You guys are the heroes. And we're so thankful that you guys spend your time when there's so much you can choose from. It means everything to us. And I think Allie's going to be a lot more regular because I think I got some good news that project she was working on may be done. So I'm really excited about that. It's the hope that we're always on together with you because we really are a pair. So I do love you guys very, very much. Please, on the way out, like it. If you're on replay, make sure that you are leaving a comment and share and subscribe it. And then to my mods, who I far too often forget to thank you guys for all the work that you do. I love you guys so much. I could not do this without you. There's No question about it. To the ride or dies, Mandy and Dizzy and Tracy, you guys are amazing. Missy Mayhem's always back there. All you guys that are back here with me behind the scenes, I love you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. And to all my mods that are just there through thick and thin, you guys are amazing, all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And to you guys, thank you so much, because without you, I'm just an old man talking about a whole bunch of cases. Talking to you tomorrow.